Today is Valentine's Day, and I picked the title Love Joyously. Now, this is Love Week. Today is the center, not really, because Wednesday's kind of the middle, but whatever. The first day, Monday or Sunday, was Love Deeply, and yesterday was Love Fiercely. And today I want to talk about Love Joyously. In order to do that, we use the word love, and in the context of, Valentine's and heart, we represent a lot of things. Sometimes we mean tenderness. Sometimes we mean compassion. Sometimes we mean romantic stuff. And other times we mean like parents with their children. And sometimes we mean like the divine treats us. And the love is the force in the universe that creates good. It is the foundation of all good. Love is that. So loving deeply, like we talked about Sunday, makes complete sense because that means your foundation is deep. It is rooted powerfully to the center of the universe or the center of the earth or to the center of infinity. That is loving deeply. So let's talk about love itself. What is that? Well, sometimes we talk about it as a feeling, pheromones, and there's some hormones and other things that happen in the body. So we're physically attracted to someone. And then, we pair up and we make relationships and we create stuff. And that seems to come and go. That chemistry seems to process, and sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. And so there's a curious thing about that. If you're talking about relationships, any kind, but if you're talking about partnerships where you have partners, that kind of relationship requires constant refresh, constant miracle grow. I saw a post today, I don't know if it was today's or yesterday's, I think it was today's because Valentine's Day, from a friend of mine, and he was talking about his spouse and how they'd been together, I believe now 17 years. And he talked about the requirements necessary to stay together. And this particular one was about dating your wife. So he was talking about dating his wife. Now, that's an interesting structure because when you date in the dating space, you go intentionally for a time and you go be together somewhere. Maybe you go to the beach, maybe you go to a movie, maybe you go to dinner, maybe you go for a walk in the park, maybe you go sit and stare at the sky, whatever. But you go intentionally to be together. The purpose of the date is to be together, to share space, to share energy. That's the purpose, and to develop, presumably, more knowledge of each other, more feelings around each other, or to explore that possibility if it's early in the relationship. That is date. Now, when you have partnered up, especially if you're, in his case, mom and dad, and they have kids, then that togetherness takes on all kinds of different flavors. Sleeping together may be just rest and you don't even go to bed or get up at the same time. And so there isn't much of that sharing of emotion and connection during that time. You might get up. I get up way before Joy does, and I exercise, and I do a bunch of stuff, and I'm up for an hour and a half or 2 hours, and then I'm out of the room, out of our bedroom, and she sleeps through the whole thing. Her schedule is 2 or 3 hours different than mine. And so in that space, I'm blessed because I get to stare at her sleeping body, her sleeping form, her hair all messed up, and see the most beautiful and tender things that I can see through my eyes and my own feeling. My heart is wound up and joyful, which is today's Love Joyously. And she's asleep and doesn't know anything about it, or not consciously anyway. Of course, she will perceive stuff unconsciously because our unconscious never sleeps. But anyway, so that initial creation of relationships, if you want to strengthen it or maintain it, you have to put energy in it. You have to put miracle grow on it. This particular post was talking about the need to constantly, at least once a week, recreate that time where you're intentionally together, sharing energy, whatever it is, taking a walk, watching a movie, going to dinner, sitting in the backyard, but together with the intention of sharing that energy like you did when the dating phase was there. If you don't do that, the relationship will get stale. No surprise. This can't be a surprise, right? So joyously is the descriptive word I'm going to use today. Because if you do those things and create time together, but there is complaint, you want to spend time together, and the first thing you do is unload with all of the things that they haven't done right, or all of the problems that you see, or the times that you've been neglected. You didn't this and you didn't that. And then maybe they do it, or there's some defensiveness. Well, you didn't, and yes, I did, and oh no. That isn't going to create that growth and energy. So how you spend that time together is the key to anything, right? That's why joyously is the word today. So loving joyously. Now, I still want to go back and I want to give you a definition for love. It's a working definition. I'm not saying by any stretch it's the only or the right definition, but here's how I think of it. Love is a verb. It requires action. Mental action, spiritual action, physical action. It requires something. That action is what produces the feeling. So we sometimes think this love is a feeling, and starstruck, moonstruck, Twitter-pated in the old, I think it's a Disney movie, I think it's Bambi, I think. But anyway, that feeling, those come. There's no question that they're fun and they're real and they happen. But you know what? A few episodes ago, in fact, my last LA Talk radio show, tonight's LA Talk radio show is Jan Van Zandt. Last week's was Chris Dorris, and we were talking about those emotional states that we have, the sense of frustration, the feeling of gratitude, and of having enough, of wealth, of poverty. All of those are emotional states in the body. And one of the things we talked about was that you have access to any of those emotional states you want at any time. So you can feel joyous, you can feel overwhelmed, you can feel glad, you can feel wealthy, you can feel beat on, you can experience those feelings. And the reason isn't complicated. The reason is because they come from chemistry in the body. So if you want to feel joy, you can right now. If you choose to think of things one thing that has happened to you that was joyous, that produced that sense of chemistry. And if you recreate and live into that feeling, so I'll give you an example. I had this morning, I got up at my regular time, and during the hour and a half or an hour and 45 minutes before I left the room, I got the opportunity to see Joy there in bed under the covers, and she sleeps so soundly that I can move the covers around and get them all straight because we mess them up during the night. She doesn't even notice that. But in doing that, I get a chance to just behold her. And in doing that, think about how many things she does, how much love she gives me in taking care of her mother and the Ukrainian family we have with us. And yesterday, the little girl at school bumped her head. And so the school called, and there was a little bit of worry for a minute, and Joy was all over it, helping her mom, to decide what to do, and et cetera, et cetera. So just witnessing her lay there asleep, and then remembering all those things gave me access to the feeling of joy, gave me chemistry in my body that was joyous and uplifting and made me want to reach up and feel that feeling. Well, nothing happened except I thought about those things. And that's what Chris was talking about a week ago. And if you haven't seen that LA Talk radio show, go listen to it. Go to latalkradio.com and look up Your Ultimate Life. All of them are there, the videos and audios, and be sure and watch tonight's with Yanla. So I had that experience just this morning. And then today, of course, is Valentine's Day, and we've exchanged some gifts and some kind words and things that are genuine and heartfelt. And it has recreated for me 3 or 4 times already, and today's only half over, that feeling of joyous gratitude and loving joyously. So that's a romantic piece. And again, I'm going back to definition of love. It's a verb. It requires action. And the way I define it is it's a choice to serve. So if I choose to serve someone, and I'll get more specific in a minute, but a choice to serve, to lift, to bless, to help, to really serve and benefit someone, then I love them. Now, I define it a little more deeply. I say it is a choice to use my resources. And I define it more specifically, my spiritual resources, physical resources, which includes money and time, my emotional resources, and my mental resources. So I use the acronym SPEM, spiritual, physical, emotional, mental. And it has to be willing, like if I grudgingly, well, I have to freaking go do this. If I play the organ every week for our church congregation, and I love music and I love doing it and it's fun. So, but if I went to play the organ and I was angry or frustrated, I don't want to go do that today. Oh, flip. Got to sit up here. Oh, I didn't see the music ahead of time. Oh, I don't know. If that was who I was being when I did that, then there would be no joy. And I am absolutely certain I might make more mistakes playing. And even if I didn't, the energy would not be communicated to the congregation. There would be no worship. So in saying all this, I am assuming as a bedrock, this is with willing intention. So with willing intention to use your spiritual, physical, emotional, mental resources to bless somebody, to lift them and serve them, then you can truly say you love them. Because that's what love is. Love is service. Love is giving. Love is kindness. Big, long definition in the Bible about patience and long-suffering and is kind and is not easily provoked and a bunch of other stuff I can't remember. But it's a great definition, and it talks about love never fails. Love never fails. Now, it is in that spirit that I want to talk about love joyously. If you knew to the core of your soul that you could do something that would never fail, would you do it? Because love never fails. What usually happens is we get frustrated and we give up. We think, oh, I don't have the energy. Oh, it's not reciprocated. Oh, they don't care anyway. All of those things come, and you know what? They might be true right now. And our time horizon, mine had been so short that if I don't get the results I want now or today or this week or pretty soon, with pretty soon a bit undefined, then somehow, well, it didn't work. I don't freaking have time for this stuff. Well, then it isn't love that failed. It was me that gave up. The eternal truth is love never fails. Okay, so love deeply. We talked about that at length on Sunday. Love fiercely, which is that protective, generative, powerful part of it. And love joyously involves both parties. Now, there are times, maybe all the time, I certainly experience this, where I'm loving someone, I'm giving generously of time, of cash, my spiritual, physical, emotional, mental resources. Emotional is your relationships. I include all the relationships and your feelings and your intentions and the desires of your heart and everything. And then mental, of course, is your skills and things you've learned to do and capacity and all that kind of stuff. I absolutely have situations where I'm loving with as much as I can, trying, offering service, kindness, uplift to someone, and they're not receiving it, or they're not interested, or they're busy, or they are in a place where it doesn't make any sense to them. That is their choice. And this is why I love this part. I can love you right here, right now, without your permission, and I do. I'm doing this video with encouragement, hoping, offering love, encouragement, and uplift. That's what I'm doing. And so I'm loving you here right now. And on this Valentine's Day, I'm encouraging you with all my heart to get out of yourself, to love and serve someone around you. Now, we've spent several episodes talking about self-love, speaking to yourself kindly, recognizing your own divinity, discovering your gifts, honoring yourself for them, and giving them freely and without expectation. And that kind of self-love is a foundation to be able to love others. If you don't like yourself, if you don't love yourself, then your ability or my ability to love other people is limited. I've certainly experienced that. When I hated myself, I could go through the motions of doing things for someone, and I did, providing money, providing resources. I did all those motions, but it didn't generate the feelings that are associated with love on either side. It was a perfunctory set of activities instead of a joyous celebration of sharing of energy and emotion. So today, Valentine's Day, love yourself joyously. Joyously look at your own life and just love every minute of it, even if parts of it aren't like you want. Go to work on fixing them. Get help, read books, get a coach. Don't give up, and then love all those around you. Because the choice is to love or to not love, to be in joyous, generous giving or not. That is a choice that we get to make every second of our lives. And you know what? We do make it, even if we don't do it on purpose. So this is your invitation today to love joyously. Every piece, romantically, your kids, your nephews, your godchildren, your friends, your partners, your business partners, your clients, people you don't know, people that have wronged you, people that cut you off on the freeway, people that have called you names. You know, I was putting out some note about tonight's LA Talk Radio conversation with the Kellan. Joy, my blessed, beloved wife, she boosted the post, on Facebook to make sure it reached some more people. And, we're not selling anything. This is just because I want people to have the opportunity to see it. And, there were some, trolls calling me or her or other people names. It was trash. It was this, it was that. And my heart ached, not because I was hurt, but because I wondered truly what is happening in their lives, that their lenses of life are full of that vitriol, bitterness, negativity. So it made me sad for them. And it was an overflowing of love in my own heart, offering, wishing, stretching forth to lift and bless them. That's loving joyously. So this is the third one and the last one we're going to do. Tomorrow we're going to talk about some other piece of love, which is manifesting. Love deeply. Love fiercely. Love joyously, because you can. It's what you were designed to do. It's what you were created to do, and you were given gifts to serve with. Now, my road to 50 million is about helping 50 million people, 50 million you, to serve with your gifts, to discover them, to honor them, to develop them, and to serve with them. Because I know from my own experience and that of clients that when you choose to serve with your gifts, you're the happiest, you make the most impact, you do the most good in the world, and you make the most money. Now, if you're not interested in being the happiest, making the most money, and making the most impact, then pursue some other path. If you want to make the most impact and income and have the most joy in your heart, then discover your gifts and serve with them. My commitment is to help 50 million people, so I invite you. If you're not living a life of purpose, prosperity, and joy, I'd love to have a conversation to see if there's something I can do to help. I don't know, but I will after we talk. Your birthright is divine. Your capability is divine. And on this day of love, I send you love and encourage you to create, because you can, and live your ultimate life. We'll see you tomorrow on the road to 50 million.